Hi everyone, Deryck Walker from the Strata Management Training Institute. As an independent voice in the industry, there's occasionally things that come across my desk, and I think, there probably should be a discussion about this in the industry. Um, in some ways, I feel very lucky to be this neutral entity. I provide training for lot owners, committees, managers, management companies, and other entities, and my business is fee for service. What does that mean? I design and build training. I charge a fee when I run it, and that's what I get paid. I have no other revenue sources, no paid sponsorships or anything along those lines. This is something that I fiercely protect because I believe there needs to be independent voices in the industry where there isn't sort of a question mark saying, well, what really is the agenda here? My agenda is I'm passionate about the industry, and I just think there's some really simple key areas we can do better. And so in this case, we're going to have to talk about this being a hypothetical, whether it's a hypothetical or not. Well, you can decide. The hypothetical we're playing with came about when a lot owner may have contacted me, hypothetically, asking for advice around their strata community. Let me just get my share screen up and going for this little chat. As the title indicates, death by 1,000 line items. So lot owner gets in touch and they say, I've got the financial statements. I don't quite understand what we're being charged by the management company. And of course, this is a really common area where there's a misunderstanding. For example, there's a complaint about something in strata community is or isn't doing, and this is wrongly directed towards the manager, where of course the owners are the ones in control, in complete control. The manager is but a humble assistant for the owners. Anyway, so looking at this hypothetical financial statement, it's a tiddler. It's a little block of four, and the owner calls and they're like, well, we were quoted something like $680 as an annual management fee. My comment in that conversation would have been, wow, that's really, really low. It's so low that if this were a friend or family member before engaging, I would actually say, I'm a bit worried of just how low that fee is. What does that mean for the kind of service you're going to be getting from the manager? Just do the maths. To earn an $80,000 salary, how many $680 strata communities does this person need to be managing? It is just so incredibly unsustainable, and it shouldn't be about going for the lowest cost because, what do they say? Pay peanuts, get monkeys. And funnily enough, shouldn't it be pay bananas, get monkeys? Anyways, here is the base management fee as quoted. Yep, $681.96. When the tender was provided in the first instance, this hypothetical management company said, we're going to charge you $681 for management fees. It consists of our management fee, and then we've got a fixed disbursement fee. Fine, that's fine. And again, this lot owner is saying, that's what we understood, but what is actually going to the manager? And this is where it's interesting. Get my little highlighter out. Admin fees and charges, that's going to the manager. Computer and internet fees of nearly $70, same again. Archival fees, $210.93. Printing, photocopying, telephone, and facsimile, $22. So, in actual fact, there are sort of what I call obscured management fees. There's another $446 which are charged by the manager for admin services in addition to the 681. There is somewhat of a misrepresentation depending on how those communications were conveyed. If the manager said we have a base fee that's 681 and that's all of the annual admin for the Strata community, it's a little bit deceiving if that's the case because of course it's truly $1,128. So for the lot owners out there looking at your financial statements, looking through that, if you have all of these little charges, look at the breakdown under the invoicing in the back and see who that charge is going to. Now, again, this might be perfectly in line with contract principles. This is more an issue where, as a lot owner, I have an issue with the way in which this is displayed, especially if there's a misunderstanding around what the fees are going to be and what they actually are. This isn't the end of the story. In orange, what an absolute whopper. $3,048. And you can see a budgeted allocation of $600. This hypothetical manager has charged $3,000 in additional work. Importantly, managers should be compensated when they do extra things outside of their regular work. If they need to go to the tribunal, if they have to call additional meetings outside of the regular annual general meeting, if the committee says, actually, we need you to come to our committee meetings every 3 months, they go for 2.5 hours. In that case, more than fair, the manager is compensated for that time. There's just sort of, if you just look at the scale of those costs from a percentage point of view, it's pretty significant. $600 allocation, over $3,000 charged. When you add this all together, this hypothetical management company has actually billed $4,177 when the owners understood it would be 681. Let's even say they understood there's going to be some additional costs. $1,200 would have been a fair estimate. It's $4,000. And again, the size, the fact that this is a tiddler, a little block of four, it doesn't really matter. The foundational principles is what we're looking at here. The one other little thing to mention here, and I'm going to flag myself as a fence sitter in this debate, there is a 15% commission on the insurance policy in addition to this. So the manager's revenue is in that sort of zone of what, $4,700. As the title of this presentation intimated, death by 1,000 line items, they really are, you know, I don't agree with the way that this has been approached by this hypothetical manager. And these are some of the solutions that I have to put forward. The manager charges a single fee to run the strata community for the year. Yep. All things inclusive. If you just do all the regular things, run a meeting, do the notices, pay the accounts, do the paperwork, admin, so on and so forth, then this is what the cost is. No charges for fax and phone and archive and all these other bits and bobs. This is the fee and that's it. That fee needs to be set at a reasonable limit. It's going to be far higher than what that hypothetical manager has charged. And once again, pay bananas, get monkeys. With the additional charges, that is talking about when a manager genuinely does more work. My belief is more than fair, more than fair. So with any service, if you take your car in for a service and your tires are gone and need to be replaced, there is an additional fee for that. You can't say just give me free tires as part of your changing the oil and filter. It doesn't work that way. And this all needs to be clearly communicated at the start by the manager. Best practice guidelines I would give any manager nationally. You should be recording all of your correspondence, even simple notes. It doesn't matter how simple. I was doing this for 13 years. I ran a strata management business and we logged every phone call, every email, every letter. And so if we did an enormous amount of work, yeah, there was an extra bill. And when the client said, what's that for? I'd say, here's the multiple pages of line items that shows all of the enormous amount of work we've undertaken for you during the year. You need to be able to quantify that cost. And the other thing I would recommend, if to stop costs from going completely out of control and no one being aware, the manager should set a predetermined limit where if it goes over that, they get in touch, for example, with the committee or the chair, and they'd say, hi, just letting you know, we have been doing lots and lots of extra work. As a result, the costs have very quickly gone ahead. A simple number to line up with, the budget. In that hypothetical statement we just looked at, there was a $600 budget allocation. The costs were $3,000. If the cost breached that budgeted allocation, then once again, on the phone to the chairperson, hi, just letting you know, it's been really, really busy. Here's a summary of what we've been doing. We've actually hit our budgeted limit for this. Are you happy for us to press on? Or do you want to lay off for this? And maybe, the committee can take a bit more control to take some of that burden off the manager, because once again, it's more than fair the manager is compensated for their time. With all this in mind, some hard truths. Nothing is ever perfect. Owners purely seeking a low fee are going to be put off by this in the first instance. Because what I'm saying is, I think managers should just consolidate their many admin fees into one and just say, this is our fee, and it's going to be far higher than what it is now. It just simplifies everything. You can see exactly what it's going to be. And unless the manager ends up running around all over the place, that is the fee and that's it. There's no sort of hiding things in different line items in the financial statements. Additionally, it's not really an issue and doesn't apply to enormous strata communities. I know of some schemes in the thousands of lots, and in that case, this more complex line item by line item system can work really well for those communities. So just sort of a side item for small to medium communities, 100%. I think there's no reason why this wouldn't work well. And the other thing to comment on is if lot owners are going to be turned off by a slightly higher or reasonable cost, maybe it's not a good fit. Maybe that relationship's not going to work out if they're just going to drill you on the fact that it's a little bit more money each year to look after what is now multi-million dollar lots on their behalf. Then again, maybe that relationship's just not going to work out and you'll be better off directing your energy elsewhere. Anyways, quoting a very famous strata manager. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Just food for thought. Um, Let me know what you think. Comment in the video. Send me an email. Put a comment in LinkedIn if you're connected with me on LinkedIn. Nothing is ever perfect, and you may disagree with some of the points I raised. That's totally fine. That's the whole point of raising this. I'm just trying to stir some discussion within the industry to see what can we do better. And this is one of the things I think that we can do better. Thanks for listening.